Ryan Ozawa is a resident of Hawaii. He joins me now from Honolulu. Hello there, Ryan.
Good morning. Good morning. It's actually still that evening here, but it's good to be here.
Well, yes, it's nice to have you. Can you take us back through your immediate reaction when you saw this alert? What was that like?
Well, it was 8 in the morning, and because it's a beautiful, cool Saturday, I was thinking of a lazy start to the day. But when the alert tone came on my phone, I got out of bed. I figured because the weather was clear, maybe it was a tsunami alert, which we get periodically, maybe an earthquake, definitely not a hurricane. But when it said ballistic missile, this is not a drill, I froze. I turned sheet white. I definitely had a brain scramble moment to determine whether I was actually seeing what I was seeing.
Right, because we know the rhetoric between the United States and North Korea, the missile tests, the stepping up of its nuclear program. Is this anything that Hawaii has addressed or discussed or talked about prior to this false alarm?
Well, it is funny, and I think people responded the way they did because it was only 2 or 3 months ago where the state of Hawaii did begin publicizing its efforts to come up with emergency response plans to a ballistic missile threat and putting out information about that and doing press conferences. And even at that time, people were kind of laughing about it or thinking it was a little ridiculous. But I'll tell you, when that shows up on your phone and you're home with your family, you take it very seriously. And it felt much more serious because of those earlier conversations.
Right, and you said you just turned white. What did you do next?
Well, I let my wife know. She panicked. We went downstairs where we figured we'd be further from windows. My two of my children were there. I actually checked on my youngest son. He was asleep. And in that moment, I said, if we do have 10 minutes left, I think maybe it'd be better if he was asleep. So I just got everyone else together. We turned on the TV. The automated emergency message was there saying that there was an incoming missile and to take shelter and get off the roads. It was about as serious as it could be. And we just waited for more information.
And how are you feeling now once this is all over and in the clear? Are you angry? Are you still in shock? Are you saddened? Are you concerned about your children and their feeling of safety?
I think all of those things are true. Certainly, the cycle comes through where you're scared, you're panicked, and then you're angry and confused. Certainly, there's going to be a lot of finger pointing and work to prevent this from happening. But one thing that I think occurred to a lot of my friends, and I think in all of Hawaii, there's now going to be that conversation starter: where were you when? Uh, there was the part of you that wanted to be practically prepared with supplies, know where you're going to go, what you're going to do. But what really struck me is that I felt I needed to be more prepared on a higher level, a more metaphysical level. Who were the people that I wanted to be with? What did I want them to know? And you kind of have those conversations even with your kids that the members of your family, the coworkers you work with. We were texting my coworkers and I saying we love each other. I mean, it was very surreal, and I want to be able to do that better should that moment actually come someday.
Wow, that's very, I can understand, but that's also very sad, isn't it, that you've had to go through this. So is this something you can put behind you, or because of this false alarm, do you think you're going to live a little more on edge there in this most beautiful, one of the most beautiful islands in the world?
Well, every place has their threats, whether it's tornadoes or blizzards. We
True.
do have, as I mentioned, hurricanes and tsunami and earthquakes. And I think everybody wants to be prepared in case the worst happens. I joked today that, if there's any place where you would be, Hawaii's not the worst place that you could be. I think that it is good to remind yourself that of the things that matter. There were a lot of great text conversations. Even my son and my daughter with their friends, just kind of saying, "Hey, I really hadn't thought about reaching out to you in a long time." So I think there's kind of an upside to that, and there's definitely an upside in that. I hope this will never happen again because controls will be in place. With all these conversations about the size of buttons on desks, this is one button that should probably be a little harder to hit.
Please, no, yes, no buttons on desks, no fingers on buttons, and no false alarms ever again. We're glad you're all right. We're glad you have your sense of humor about you. You probably need that, don't you? All right, Ryan, all the best to you and your family. Aloha.
Aloha, thank you.